You recently published a contribution on HousingWire that discussed the merits of 40 and 50-year mortgages. Why do you think that the 30-year mortgage is not fully meeting the needs of the American homebuyer?
I was looking at the data. The data, it tells a full, true, clear picture.
I'm Diego Sanchez, president of HousingWire, and this is 10-Minute Talks. My guest today is Darrin Seppinni, president of HomeLife Mortgage. Darrin, welcome to 10-Minute Talks.
Thank you for having me today.
It's so great to have you on. Before we dive in, could you give a 60-second introduction of yourself and of HomeLife Mortgage?
I can. So first of all, I'm very thankful to have such a long career in the mortgage industry of over 40 years. So I'm very thankful for that. I started in the mortgage industry when I was a very young man at 21 years old. But prior to giving my background, HomeLife Mortgage is a 17-year-old company that I started, and it's grown to become very well known in the non-QM space as far as mortgage originations. As far as my long history, here's what I will share with you. It's been a very exciting journey. So I started as a young loan officer with some of the trailblazers in the early 80s in the mortgage industry. And then I quickly became successful as a loan officer, applying some of my disciplines and how I was as a young man, as a top athlete. And so soon on in the early 80s, I became a mortgage broker. And during that time, I also worked for mortgage bankers. I worked, so I've worked the whole gamut. I worked as an account executive. I was a mortgage broker. I became a national mortgage lender. At one point, I've owned a public escrow company. So I've had a long career in various jobs and mostly a small businessman owning mortgage companies. I've also owned a public escrow company. In addition to that, I wrote 2 books that were published by McGraw-Hill in 2007, prior to the subprime crash, which probably wasn't the greatest time to write them. But at any rate, so I've had a long, glorious career. I'm very thankful for that to the mortgage industry, and I'm happy to be here with you today. HomeLife Mortgage is a successful mortgage broker company specializing in the non-QM bank statement loan and DSCR loans. And we started this when non-QM started. So we're one of the original companies that were originating these loans and have had a lot of success in the States.
So do you have a geographic focus for HomeLife?
Yeah, so our focus is California, Florida, Texas. We do loans in Georgia. For the DSCR loans, we do them nationwide.
And which wholesalers are you doing most of your brokering with? Are there particular companies like Deephaven that you spend a lot of time with?
Well, we use a variety. So I stay pretty true to the couple of lenders that we use. I will mention one of the lenders that I've had a long-standing relationship with is Angelope Mortgage. They were one of the original companies as well. And so we've established a long-term relationship with them and still till today, we have a very close relationship.
So the reason I had you on 10-Minute Talks is you recently published a contribution on HousingWire that discussed the merits of 40 and 50-year mortgages. And I wanted to talk to you about it because it's such an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Why do you think that the 30-year mortgage is not fully meeting the needs of the American homebuyer?
Well, as you know, many things have changed, especially recently in the housing crisis, in the affordability. So the reason I started thinking about this is I was looking at the data. The data it tells a full, true, clear picture of where incomes compared to housing prices are very out of whack. Mm-hmm. And that's how I decided to start looking at the 40 and 50-year term based on the data.
And so, give me your pitch for let's say a 40-year mortgage.
Let me give you some quick facts about the data. So I'll just read this. I'm off to the side here. So in 2023, the median household income in the U.S. was around $74,000. The median home price was approximately $416,000. This means the price was about 5.6 times the median household income. Historically, this means the home prices. Historically, the home prices are around 3 times the household incomes. So basically, in the 1970s, the home prices to income ratio was around 3 to 1. By the 2000s, it went to 4 to 1. In 2023, has surged past 5 to 1. So home prices have risen faster than incomes. And so looking at some of those statistics in inexpensive areas like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York, home price ratio can be as high as 10 to 1. So the problem now is because of the surge in home prices, it's not just the medium income folks that can't qualify. It's also the higher income folks that are having an issue qualifying. So that's what started my research on introducing the 40 to 50 year term affordability. And this is what this conversation, affordability, is really what's in the news with the two president-elects, right? So affordability and housing shortage. So we know that housing shortage is due to, one, folks not selling their homes because they have low interest rates, and then looking at trying to buy a new home that's 50% potentially or higher in cost than their existing home. We also know that there's low construction due to land cost, material cost, and labor cost. So this article is about the 40 and 50 year loan, but I believe that the housing shortage is equally as important as a conversation. I believe that the government could provide subsidies for certain types of first-time home buyers, multi-generational homes, homes with ADU units, with rental income. There are multi things that the government can do as far as construction to enhance the builders through tax credits to build more homes. As far as the 40 and 50 year mortgage, there are downsides. Interest over a longer period of time, not building as much equity. So there's a conversation to be had of qualifying more people for a home loan versus the longer interest paid over the life of the loan. So I thought to mitigate that one option would be on a 40-year term to have an option built into the servicing where when they can pay on a 30-year term. Or if they have a better income than sometimes, they would have an option to pay on a 15-year term. This would all be built in to the loan. Pick-a-pay. We call it the pick-a-pay.
Yeah, pick-a-pay is interesting. The issue that I foresee is, and I agree with you that supply is very challenged and has been really since the Great Recession. Home builders aren't building as much as they used to. And you're right, people are kind of locked into rates in existing homes. And people in general are just staying in their homes longer for a variety of reasons, like aging in place. So when you look at low supply, and there's been incredibly high demand because we're just in that demographic patch with millennials and then Gen Z, home prices have gotten out of whack because demand is high, supply is low. So Econ 101 says prices are going to go up. Do you have any concerns about, because I would view this as being a stimulus on the demand side if you are enabling more people to be home buyers, and I think it's great for more people to get into a home, but it feels like a demand stimulus when supply is low might just cause home prices to go up more.
Certainly, that is an issue that lenders will have, or maybe real estate folks would have. But here's the big concern, from my perspective, is we have such a great imbalance in this country. We are headed towards where only the rich will buy a home. This is the issue. This is the long-term issue. So in the short term, you are correct. It would cause more people to be wanting to buy homes. We have a shortage of homes. That's a short-term problem that could be solved over time. But the long-term problem is, if you look at the data, it's not the medium income buyers. It's the higher income buyers that can't buy a home today. So this is why I'm talking about this subject matter, where you have if you understand the problem, such as the affordability problem in qualifying for a mortgage or saving for a down payment, you could see that the pie is getting smaller for the average American. And this is why I'm talking about this extension of the mortgage term to help more people qualify. There are downsides to it. We know that. And those things could be discussed.
Absolutely. And I like the creativity of the approach for sure. And you're in non-QM. Potentially there's opportunity in the non-QM sphere to be thinking about longer tenures for mortgages.
There's already a 40-year term with a 10-year interest-only period that converts to a 30-year fully amortized loan. That's already exists. So I think when you look at the data, when you closely look at the differences in mortgage payments and how many more people you can qualify, then I think that the arguments could be made both ways for pros and cons.
Well, Darrin, I think we need to have you on some kind of panel on this topic. We've gotten to the end of our 10-minute talk here, okay, but I think there's a lot more to talk about on this topic.
Let me just close with this. I think that the affordability crisis, is a big issue, a big conversation. But I do think that they could do a better job at with some potential policy proposals, such as a 3-year mortgage payment subsidy. I have an article I just completed on that will be published soon to follow up on this article. But I think these are things that the president-elects can both discuss to address the homeownership crisis.
Darrin, thank you so much for joining me today. What an interesting conversation.
Thank you for having me, and I hope the conversation continues because I believe it's an important one.